Myself, Krish Raithukar, very warm welcome to all. And this is first day of the system design. And in this day, we discuss a little bit about system design basics. So, uh, this full playlist it goes on like we are discussing lots of the system design concepts. Like the system design is very necessary to discuss. And now this particular era, artificial intelligence era, actually we know that like manual coders and vibe coders, so we both have the same concept. They both are using same concept, like same following the same path for designing one system, either you're building app application anything else. So I used to know about how actually each component of the systems are interact with each other and how actually they combine to make entire system workflow, and that all important concept. So overall, our discussion for today, the first we discuss a little bit about like microservice and monolithic architecture, and this is a type of architecture. So we should to discuss because of that when you're designing a system. So there are lots of architecture are based on, and choosing a right architecture to managing the performance, workload, anything else. So that's important part. And at the end, we discuss about vertical and horizontal scaling, and that's the really necessary part to discuss of the system design. And this is the basic fundamental of the system design. And moving forward, we discuss much about the system design as deeper. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, let's come to agenda number one. And in this agenda, we discuss about microservice and monolithic architecture. And this is the necessary one to discuss. Okay, so let's start with microservice architecture. Okay, I'm not giving you a like technical definition and academical definition like lots of big word to define this entire microservice architecture. I give you three magic word to understand microservice architecture. Okay, so microservice architecture like small, independent, decentralized. So architecture which is software which basically designed for small independent groups. For example, now suppose you design an app and your all the app logic are distributed in different codes. Okay, now suppose we take, okay, now suppose uh, all this logic, all the code bases, now you write a python some, okay, so you have some business logic, you have a UI design. So all these particular parts of your particular application are distributed in different parts, okay, different small independent groups. Okay, this particular groups are not dependent from each, they are not interdependent from each other for any exchange of the data. So they are independent, they have an on itself database, or other logic and business logic have their own database, they access particular database and they fetch information a specific database. Okay, so each logics have their own database. So it's all about like distributing different databases, distributing the networks, other logics and the business logics and UI design, all the app of this particular code base is like distributed in different logics. Okay, so that's all about like you can say microservice architecture. So all the units are independent and decentralized. Okay, so they work independently without communication between two different peers, like they don't need any API something for connections on the microservice architecture. So overall, the best example is Netflix, and Netflix is the best example for this microservice architecture. And they handle several APIs by distributing their decentralizing the independent units. Okay, so in that entire application. Let's come to discuss about monolithic architecture. And in this monolithic architecture, we discuss a little bit about like what exactly monolithic architecture is. So in this particular architecture, monolithic architecture is all about something you can say it is a full particular system you are designing on application. Okay, so in that application you keep all this particular code and all business logic, all backend logic at same place, and they all the particular one share their each memories. Okay, so that's I will try to explain you. Now suppose your UI logic, you using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, anything else, business logic, backend logics, all particular logic keep at one place, that unified code base. Okay, and this particular logic and they interact with same database. They are not using a different either SQL, NoSQL, anything else. So they're using same databases. Okay, so that's all about the monolithic architecture, and it is basically designed for like it is basically designed for the main important part. We discuss pros and cons also, but the necessary to understand is like this particular system is designed for only for purpose for like sharing their memories. Okay, to increasing the performance. Okay, so if I give the three magic word to describe this, the first one unified and single deployment. Unified and single deployment. Unified code base, that they have a unified code base, that all the code logics are at one place, they have no independent there parts. Single and deployment, so it is a single and easy to deploy. Okay, that is single to deploy. Okay, so there are key features of the monolithic architecture: unified code base and shared memory. So if you not understand shared memory concept, for example, you written a long code like using a Python. Okay, all the particular backend and UI logics are kept in there, and this all particular logic are using same memory, using same database. So that's the sharing memory. So all the particular logic using same memory and same databases. They are not independent from they are not using independent databases as from their you can say like in the case of as from the microservice architecture. Pros and cons, like simplicity and easy to deploy, and long-term maintenance and harder to adopt. So in the pros, we discussed simplicity and easy to deploy, and the cons like long-term maintenance and harder to adapt. So this is the basic pros and cons of the monolithic architecture, and that really necessary one to when you're designing on system. And this is the basic fundamental topics of the system design. Okay. Uh, Again, if this particular video is going to productive for you, learn something from there, then it's my pleasure. See you soon.